Well, the big show is back. Welcome back to another episode. I believe this is episode 28, Dwayne.
28?
28, yeah.
Your little baby's 28 years
Can you believe
old.
It? I know. He's just 28 weeks old. That's it.
Yeah, I know. Just growing and nurtured and two loving hetero parents. It's just a wonderful thing.
Well, folks, welcome back. Everybody on Facebook and everybody on YouTube. Hey, it's good to see you again. Welcome to another Sunday episode of The Big Show. If you guys don't know, my name is Jimmy Smith. I'm the host of The Big Show. And alongside of me, Dwayne Ward, the author and creator of the Pissed Off Parent podcast and pissedoffparent.com. So let's go ahead and get another Big Show started. And by the way, The Big Show, if you guys don't know, The Big Show is where we really talk about masculinity. It's where we talk about dating. It's where we talk about life. It's where we talk about the ins and outs of just navigating this crazy world, being a man, and just try to help you guys get through it just a little bit, you know? So I want to talk today about something that, yeah. So I once a lot of my inspiration for the shows, because people do ask, how do I come up with these topics? How do you and Dwayne kind of think about what you're going to talk about? And every once in a while, I'll get someone to IG me, or they'll reach out to me on jimmysmith300@gmail.com, and they'll say, hey, why don't you do a show on this? Why don't you do a show on that? And Dwayne and I have literally done shows based on what people wanted. We did one with Clover a few weeks back, right? And this one, a guy reached out to me and he says, hey, look, I have some suspicions that my partner, my girl, is cheating on me. And, I'm thinking about just confronting her about it. What do you think? This, that, and the other. And I said, if you open up Pandora's box, you can't close that thing, right? Once you ring the bell, you can't unring that bell. So you want to make sure that when it's you ring that son of a gun loud and clear. But you have to make sure that you've got some substance behind your thoughts, your accusations, because guys, gals, we all know what the default answer is going to be when we approach someone about cheating on it. It's going to be, I didn't do it. You got the wrong person,
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me. So that's going to be it. And they're going to do all that they can to make you feel like you are the fool for even thinking of something so absurd. So if you don't have some ammunition in that gun, the fire bullets right back, metaphorically, then you're going to be scratching your head, walking from that conversation going, you know what? I kind of feel like a jerk because I couldn't prove anything, when that person could very well have been doing something. And now what you've done is you've just alerted them, and they're going to erase all the history and cover their tracks. Yes. Right.
And there's applications. There are applications today that are specifically designed. I think Snapchat is one of them that you can't trace it. Well, there are ways, but you can't trace it under normal circumstances. I mean, a lot of the apps today, they're out there create this cheating environment to where, people can successfully have other relationships, and without doing some, digging around and all that, you can't discover, you can't find it.
Exactly right. And, I did a couple of years ago, I didn't really know much other than Facebook. I didn't really know much about Instagram or Twitter. And I remember logging on to Facebook and asking my friends, hey, what's the difference between these famous sites? And then now I know them all pretty well. Right. But Snapchat was one that whenever I first learned about it, right, it seems harmless. You got these weird cartoon avatars. It seems like a kid's app. But it became pretty apparent to me that with this vanishing mode that they have, where the pictures disappear after 10 seconds or disappear after you've seen them or open them up, the messages disappear. I thought to myself, that would be a perfect app if someone wanted to cheat on their significant other.
Yep.
And then I did a little bit of research online, and people are calling it the cheaters app. Now, I'm not saying that if your partner has Snapchat that he or she cheating on you. What I'm saying, though, is that, if they have Snapchat, it doesn't mean they're cheating. But a lot of cheaters seem to have Snapchat.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those, one does not necessarily equate to the other. But if they have Snapchat, usually they are cheating. If they're cheaters at heart. And those two seem to kind of go together. It's something. I mean, with MySpace going back several years, kind of kicked it all off. Yeah, my wife loved MySpace. But then Facebook and actually now they're doing cheating on LinkedIn on the professional networking.
Really?
It's in the industry that I'm in, I get I will get emails from people that are in town on business and want to see if I want to have a business get together. I've never met them. I don't know who they are. Their pictures are a little provocative.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it is being recorded.
It is.
It is being recorded.
Ronald, you are live. You are live on the show right now, Ronald. It is being recorded, sir.
Being recorded. Yeah.
And you bring up a good point, Dwayne. And what I get from what you're saying, what I get from what I've learned is that if they're going to cheat, they're going to cheat.
Yeah, cheaters.
They're going to find a way, man. I mean, LinkedIn for real. Like, come on, LinkedIn of all
the things.
Through my research, and I know I've said this a bunch. And if you guys don't know, my analytical friend right here next to me, he holds me accountable to making sure that I, of course, put out information that is not false, because his entire webpage is derived off stats and statistics and actual facts, right? So he is the kind of guy where he doesn't say anything unless he says it with things backed up by scientific data and proof. And that's a good friend to have, because whenever I'm doing a podcast and I'm studying for my show, like this week's notes I've got, I find out things that I sometimes knew but didn't have any substance behind it, or I just find out that I had no idea. One thing I found out this week: the number one cheating app out there is Facebook.
Is more responsible for breaking up more marriages. It's supposed to be everyone. And what happens is Bob or Sue that you dated back in high school, you connect at 45 years old, and then next thing you know, they're you're leaving a good marriage or one that a good marriage that you put in your head that it was all of a sudden bad to run off with Ron or Sue. And then, the grass isn't always greener. But yeah, that's happened. It's been the cause of so many divorces.
Yeah, it has. So, this week, as you guys have seen the topic, it's the sneaky things that cheaters do with their phones, And, I was reading articles and I'm reading data and stats. And there's this guy named Anthony Ferguson that put together a really good kind of publishing about it and stuff. And so I kind of dug into it. And, Dwayne, according to recent studies, 44% of unmarried couples experience some sort of cheating.
Yeah.
With some studies suggesting it's actually as high as like 70%, right? Because these studies that are done, they're really hard to narrow down exactly the right percentage. And here's why. Because when they do these studies, what they do is they pick a few hundred or a few thousand people and they ask them questions, right? And sometimes the study is, hey, once a month, I want you to log on to this site with this code, and I'm going to pay you $10, $50, whatever, for you to answer a series of questions. And every month I'm going to give you money until the recording or the data is done. And that's, and now the reason why I say it's a little wonky is because they're going off of the answers that people give. And so there is a potential there for someone to obviously say they're not cheating when they actually, in fact, are, right? I don't think that people are going to lie and say that they are cheating when they weren't cheating. It's more likely to be saying, I am not cheating when they actually were cheating. Now, it's all blind studies. No one has the data and their names and their social security numbers. So there's an incentive to be honest in the fact that, hey, no one knows. They can't link you to these answers. But I think that if we all were logical people, and like most of us are, the percentage that they find out, let's say that it's 44%, right? It's probably a little higher than that. That's my point.
Well, we have people that, they're cheating by pretty much every definition you could give. But they don't believe they're cheating. So therefore they're not cheating. You have those delusional, narcissistic whack jobs that, will do bad things. And then when they're confronted, will then say, oh, I no, that's not cheating. That's me having a chat or talking with an old friend.
Exactly. You're right. And a lot of people will kind of cover up their own dirty laundry, if you will, and only say or only admit that they cheated whenever they had actual intercourse. when I think most of us would say that you actually begin to cheat far before intercourse if you're having inappropriate conversation, sharing pictures, or, fill in the blanks. We all know, right? So anyways, they're saying that when unmarried couples are together, it could be between 44 and 70%. So let's just go with the conservative part, 44. I mean, that's damn near 50%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost 1 out of every 2 people, right? And so, that really means that kind of 2 out of every 4 couples that someone is cheating.
Yeah.
So you look at, think of 4 of your couples right now, 4 couples that 2 of them people in that group are probably cheating statistic wise. For married couples, the numbers are less frightening, right? But they're still around 25%. So if you think about it, that's 1 out of every 4 married couples. There's someone stepping out on their marriage. And with the popularity of social media, with dating sites, this number is likely increasing over time.
Oh yeah.
There's a good book that I would recommend to you guys. It's called 3 Ways to Catch a Cheater Without Alerting Them. Good book if you guys want to read up on that, if you're interested in that. And that's why I really decided to inform you of all the things to look for if you suspect your partner is cheating, because I want you guys to be happy, but I don't want you guys to be fools. Just like this guy who reached out to me, I don't want him to be played as a fool. If he finds out that his girl is not cheating, he needs to know. That'd be a good thing for him to know. If he finds out that she is cheating, he needs to know. That'd be a good thing for him to know. So in this episode of The Big Show, we're going to go over the sneaky things that cheaters do with their phones. So to educate you all on the newest tactics in the modern era, because cheating 50 years ago looked different than cheating 5 days ago. So the modern era, we got smartphones, we got apps, we got all these crafty little sneaky things. And men, in today's times of promiscuous women, now more than any time in history, women have cheated on their men more than they ever have in the past. That's also logged in data and statistics. It seems that so many women out there have at least one other guy that they're talking to, even when they're in a relationship. And I've said this many times on previous podcasts. Women cheat when they start talking to other men, not when they have sex with them.
Right.
Because women are not going to sleep with you unless they like you. See, men, they could sleep with you and have zero emotional connection with you at all. I'm not saying it's justified, and I'm not saying it's right.
It's how we're wired. It's how we're wired.
It's how we're wired. Yeah. I mean, this dude could buy his wife a house, a car, feed, protect, give his life for hers, and still go bang that chick over there and come right home and sleep like a baby. Yeah. I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm saying is no emotional connection.
Right.
In men's, the way that men think, and again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you what men think.
Right.
We really begin to truly cheat whenever our side chick, we buy her a car that's better than yours, a house that's bigger than yours. If we're providing for her or protecting her the same or more than you, that's when in our minds we are cheating. Now, we all know that intercourse is cheating, so I'm not going to cover that up. But my point is that men have no emotional connection, at least a lot of men, no emotional connection. Right. On the other hand, though, a woman could not sleep with you unless she likes you. So she has to take some love from you to give to another man. So if your woman is talking, flirting, throwing pictures his way, if she's getting her time, her energy, her connection, her softness, her love, she's cheating on you, man. She's cheating on you. And ladies, look, I don't want you to get all bent. If you feel the same way about your man, if you feel that what I said about women still should apply for men, then and that is your boundary, then fair enough. You're welcome to have your boundaries. Let them be loud and let them be clear. You're welcome to have your boundaries. So, when women start to talk to other men, I personally believe that's when they really start stepping out. And it's not necessarily when they actually have sex with them. That said, when we are done, with the podcast later on today, what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to give you 3 great ways on how to catch your partner cheating. So I'm going to describe some things you guys do, how you can check up. But I'm going to give you 3 good, solid tips on how you can actually catch them cheating. Okay. Some ways that I know I'm not going to share over a podcast. Okay. Because some are not exactly ethical, and others I simply don't want to share because women that I date watch my shows, to be honest. And and I've dated I've dated women that watch my shows, and I will probably date women in the future that will watch my shows. And I don't want to show all my cards, to be honest. So I'm not going to give all my secrets, but I'm going to give you 3 really good ones. As a matter of fact, one of the women that I've dated that I've caught cheating on me is probably watching right now, Dwayne, because she probably saw the show, the title of the show, and she probably thinks it's about her. And I know you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, I know exactly who you're who you're talking about. Yes,
but hun, if you're watching, don't flatter yourself. The show is not about you. It was actually requested by one of my viewers, so it's not about you, but it was inspired by you, and you should be so proud. So I'll just leave it there. I'll just leave it there. I'm not going to get off center. I'm going to leave it right there.
Yeah.
So, Dwayne, let's jump into it. You ready to get going?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. All right. So one of the ways that we can catch these sneaky little people is they get worried, Dwayne, if you ask to see their phone.
Oh yeah. If they're like this and you're like, hey, I need to hit DoorDash, or oh, my phone's goofing up, or whatever. Hey, can I see your phone? They go, Spidey sense needs to be going off at that. If that happens, red flags need to be on that play left and right. That's when you need to listen to the rest of the podcast, get this information, because something's up. Yeah, when they're doing that, and it's not like 2 days before your birthday. I mean, I'm a little tongue in cheek here. If it's not like birthday surprise time or something like that,
right,
your spider sense needs to be tingling.
I've been seeing more and more, maybe it's the algorithms, I don't know, but I've been seeing these. They're not memes. I don't know. I don't know what you call them. Like the little 10-second video clips on TikTok or whatever. Instagram has a few of them too, right? Yeah. And you see someone. He reaches over to grab his drink, and her phone's next to her drink, and she rushes to grab her phone real fast and kind of does this, and he's like, "Damn, woman!" You're like, can I grab my drink? Well, that right there, that's a telltale sign something's up.
Right.
Okay. I'll tell you, this has been a classic sign since smartphones have been a thing.
Yes.
You've probably seen the memes that I was talking about. And I even recall one viral video where a man, grabbed his girlfriend's phone from the bathroom while she was taking a shower. And that girl immediately ran out of the bathroom, soap suds all over her, to chase him down the hallway for her phone back.
Yeah.
He didn't
show her the door.
He doesn't even need to look through her phone. Just the mere fact that he had it in his hand unlocked gave her the anxiety and all the telltale signs to know that she has got to go.
Now, what if they tell you,
well, I need to have my privacy. You don't trust me.
What?
Yeah, and that's what they say. This is I've had that said to me before. Okay, and this is how I replied. You don't get privacy to the full degree when you're in a monogamous relationship. Okay, and here's your privacy. Here's my phone. You want it? Take a look at it. Here's my code. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go right ahead. Whenever you want.
Yeah.
Here's my pattern to get my phone. So anytime you feel froggy, go ahead and jump. Okay. I'm not going to ask anything of you that I want to have be asked for myself.
That's the big one.
As Dwayne, my friend, so eloquently points out, you live in the world that you create. So if I'm going to say, hey, let me see your phone out of the blue, then it should be even Steven for you to go, hey, let me see your phone out of the blue. And guys, guess what? People who have nothing to hide, guess what they say?
Here.
Take it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go grab some food from the refrigerator. You want anything while you're looking through?
Yeah.
People who have a really, really big problem with it, well, we all know. There's no dummies listening to the Big Show podcast. We all know.
And if you want to have a good relationship, that's the way it should be. I mean, I have bragged many a time about my lovely wife, Brandy, but that's how our relationship is. She knows my passcode. I keep forgetting hers is the same one, but I'm old and I don't remember it. But there's no anything, and there's that trust there, and we're just so much happier. I mean, that's that trust and having that trust and having no secrets or whatever. Again, unless we have a week or two around our birthdays that we are not allowed to automatically jump on each other's phones because I plan crazy stuff for hers and she does the same thing for mine. Yeah. But that's one of the ways to have a happy relationship, and that's kind of your and ultimate goal is to have people in a happy relationship. That's kind of one of the reasons why the big show is here, is for happy relationships. If you have a relationship where you don't have each other's phone contact or passcodes and all that, and can freely do that, you're not really in a healthy relationship. And if they tell you, I want my privacy or I want my this, well, Jimmy already told you what that usually means.
Yeah. It does. And let me show this comment right here from Sophie. Sophie, I love that name because that's a name of my little baby border collie. That's my dog's name, Sophie. She says a spy cracker advertised on Facebook says that he can catch the cheater. So the reason why I want to point that out is because I have looked into this spy cracker. Not me personally, but I've asked around because I've had that same thing. I don't know if it's the spy cracker in particular, but I do know that I've had a person use the services of one of those guys, and it was nothing more than a cheating. They have you Venmo over money, and then they will say, "Okay, I'm on it," and then they go, "Oh my goodness,
send me more money."
Yeah, send me more money because I need to buy one more thing, but don't worry, it'll be whatever. And it's just that they keep asking for more and more money until you finally go, "Hey, you know what? You're ripping me off. Kick rocks." And also this person that I know that used it said, I already told you that we already talked about the money. I already asked you up front if there's going to be any more money. You said no. And then they said, well, this person has an iPhone, so I have to need this and the other. And my friend said to that person, dude, 50% of everyone in America has an iPhone. You already know up front that you're going to need this. You're scamming me. If you're not scamming me, then prove it and send me back my money. And they never got the money back. So Sophie, just be careful on that, though, okay?
We can talk. I assume part of the segment we'll be talking about potential other things, software packages. We can we can talk about that with some examples later on in the podcast, or even now. I mean, however you want to do that.
Go ahead.
Well, and then I have a story. So I've used, again, I'm a technology guy, so I've used what are called keyloggers, and if you Google that word, you'll find more information you ever want to know about what keylogging is for phones, iPhone, Android, Windows, all the other fun ones out there. And what it is a software package. And the one I'm referring to specifically is one that I used back in the early mid 2000s. And what it does is it captures login information, passwords, websites. It does screenshots of the pages that you're on, and then it emails it to an email address, wherever you want to send it. And how that came in handy, and mine's more. I've always loved technology. I've always been kind of a dork, if it's not obvious. And the technology kind of intrigued me. And this is back in the day. Well, I had at the time I had a coworker that his spidey sense was going off because giving the example that Jimmy gave, his wife was acting a little weird. Her behavior wasn't. His spidey sense was going off. So he asked me, what I can do. I said, well, I have this keylogger software. I went ahead and gave it to him. And a week later, he got a hold of me and sat me down and said, I have everything that I could ever imagine on what she's doing behind my back. She was cheating with the guy from Walmart. They were planning their dates. And when this guy he was working 2 jobs to support the family. And when he was working 12, 14, 16 hours a day, actually one of his part-time jobs was delivering newspapers at 4 a.m. I mean, this guy was a hard worker to take care of his family. And she had like some little part-time job. But anyway, so he got all the information and asked me what he should do. And we sat down. I'm like, all right, print it all out, take her out to dinner, and lay it out there. And that's exactly what he did. He took her out to like a real nice restaurant, had a babysitter for the kids. They were, he's like, I want to talk to you about something. Pulled out page 1 of like 100 and just start. And she went through all the manifestations. Oh, that's not me. Oh, that was her sister, cousin, or I can't remember what it was. And then why would you do that?
Yes.
You don't trust me.
To the victim, from denial to the victim. Yeah. Isn't that funny, right? That they always say it wasn't me, I didn't do it. And then when there's irrefutable evidence, then it's like, you're the bad guy for even looking through my phone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. If you feel that you have to go through my phone, then you should have just left me. Okay. So let me use that logic. If you're giving the advice that if someone feels like they should have to go through your phone, they should just leave you without any proof. So how is that conversation going to go? Hey, by the way, we're done. You and I are done. Well, why? Well, because I feel like I might have to go through your phone, and I know that you give that advice. So we're breaking up because I feel like there could be a potential there. How absurd does that advice even sound coming out of my mouth? But that is a victim, gaslighting type of phrase that they'll use.
Yeah, that is narcissism at its finest, right there. When they
really
try
is,
to turn
man.
around on you, and those people are despicable.
Yeah, narcissists will never accept responsibility.
Nope.
And I tell you, the word out there in the world, the word since I've been growing up as a kid into a man is that men are always cheating. Men are always cheating. That is not what I see, man.
Yeah.
That is not what I see at all. I see a ton of wives cheating, a ton of girlfriends cheating. I mean, maybe it's because I talk to guys and I help guys or whatever, but look, the stats show that women cheat at nearly the same rate as men. The stats do show it's a few points under men, but that's also men who are admitting and women who are admitting.
Right.
The cheating, the infidelity. And who's more likely to be honest about cheating, a man or a woman? I think a man. Who's more likely to lie about it, a man or woman? I think a woman, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that because women don't want to be called or looked at by society as a 304. So, I just, there's more incentivization. So that's my take on it. Another way, Dwayne, that the red flags are there is when they keep their phone face down all the time.
Yeah. The face down one.
All the time. Now, don't get me wrong. Everyone occasionally keeps their phone face down. Okay. Especially if you don't want to be distracted with notifications. Okay. But I'm just saying that if it's a constant thing, specifically if it's only when you are around them, well, then that's just a little fishy. Yeah. So, the obvious reason for this is so that you don't see the notifications from their insignificant other. Right. So whether that's through text, whether that's through social media, or whether that's through a dating app, if your gut feeling is telling you that they might be cheating, you could be correct. You may be even able to confirm your suspicion by using one of the 3 tactics that I'll share with you at the end of the show on how to catch a cheater. Okay. The third one is they turn off their notifications. They just turn them off altogether. That way, whenever one comes, it doesn't make a sound. They can even turn them off to where it doesn't even show. Now, sometimes people do this, they turn them off so that way they're not being distracted. Fair. And you can make an argument that turning off notifications can increase your productivity. But let's be honest, that's a very small minority of people. Okay. Right. Most people prefer to have notifications on, but cheaters tend to mute notifications from apps or contacts that they do their dirty laundry with. Yep. And if you guys don't know, it's quite easy to do from the app setting or the messaging app, itself. I mean, it's not hard to turn off notifications. Another telltale sign is that they delete their messages.
Yeah. Deleting messages. Yeah. You see March 3rd and then the next text is August 5th or something. Right. What is that from Uncle Bob,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, while some people with OCD do this to keep their inbox clean, the majority of people tend to leave their cyber dust laying around. And this is especially concerning if you see it done in a message thread with a person that they consider to be just friends. Okay. Or even maybe with family or things like that. Because if they're just having an innocent conversation, why delete it?
Yeah. I mean, God rest Marquis' spirit, but they say she's just a friend.
Right.
I think we all know how that song turned out.
How come they didn't delete all their other threads? There is a reason why it's deleted, and the reason is because they don't want that conversation reaching your eyes. Period.
Exactly.
Okay?
Now, just to kind of go off a little bit, do you think that these people have any issues lying right to your face about it?
No.
Yeah. So I know some people have been like, well, no, I would know if he or she was doing something shady. And again, I've unfortunately been dealing with all this for now a decade and some change. And no, they can look you dead in the face, pass a lie detector, you name it, and lie to you about this behavior.
Sure. Now those two things are two separate things. So think about it, right? One person says, I'll know if they're doing something shady. B, can the person lie to you in your face? Two separate things. The second one, can they lie to you in your face? Well, I mean, if you commit a crime and you go to court for it, could the person that's being accused of the crime lie in court? Absolutely. Do they often lie in court? Absolutely. Yeah. So, and that's them, with one hand on the Bible, one hand to God, swearing to the Lord of all things knowing.
Yeah. If they say, I swear to God, 9 times out of 10, they're lying.
Right.
I don't know why. That just turns out it's like I'm 1,000% sure on Movi Povich that the baby is the guy's, and it always turns out whenever they say anything above 100%, it's always not the dad who they said it was. I've actually done research. I think there's been like 1 or 2 times in the entire 30-year history of that show where a woman has said above 100%, and it has turned out to be the father.
I don't want to go too far down the road, but that reminds me of another statistic that I know. People who work at the DNA centers that test whether or not the father is actually, related to the children, 40% of everybody at those DNA testing facilities found out they are not the father. 4 out of 10. Do you think those women had no idea that he wasn't the father? You know that they knew. They freaking knew. And at the very least, they knew that he could potentially not be the father. And they chose not to disclose that and give that man an opportunity to get a DNA swab done. Lies, 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 lies. Yep. And that's one of the most despicable, disgusting lies you could ever do, not only to him, but to your kids as well.
Yeah.
Because that man is breaking his freaking back to provide and go to work and do the things necessary to put food in the mouths and shelter and housing over the heads of children that were not even his. Man, shame on you. Shame on you. But anyways, let me just
put a smile on their face too.
And they're always shocked on Maury Povich. What?
Yeah. What?
Oh my God.
Eighth time later. What? I'm 1,000,000% sure.
Gosh,
not the father.
Yeah. So another one that we actually talked about earlier on the podcast today on what they do to be sneaky is that they use disappearing messages.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We talked about that. I mean, this is becoming very popular, very, very popular form of communications that cheaters tend to use through apps like Instagram, apps like Facebook, and the classic cheaters app, Snapchat.
Yep.
The reason is pretty obvious. No paper trail, no accusations. But unlike number 4, they don't have to remember to delete their messages. It's done the second that they send it.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it's Facebook or if it's IG, but when you go to the private messengers on one of those 2 apps, maybe both, I don't know, there's a way for you to use vanishing mode. Or incognito mode or something like that.
Maybe incognito.
Yeah, because I remember messaging friends and I push my finger on where I need to enter the text. And if you hold your finger down there's this little thing that goes in a circle saying entering vanishing mode or something. Yeah. I don't remember which app it was, but I do remember seeing that before. Another way you can find out these sneaky little SOBs are doing something off center is they will delete certain apps.
Right.
So a very common tactic that I've noticed that cheaters do is they deploy the things that apps that they tend to do or tend to deploy is deleting the very apps that they're cheating with once they're done communicating with the person that they cheated with. You know, they do this like a temporary like wipe in case their partner accesses their phone. So that way the unsuspecting partner won't even know that they're using messengers or dating apps because they won't be able to find the app on the menu or in their desktop to begin with. This is also easier to deal with if they want to resume conversations because they don't have to delete the messages. They get restored once they re-download the app and they log back in. So think about this. They use an application. They're having an affair on you. They go 3 months. That affair ends for whatever reason. They delete the entire app. And then 2 months later, the person they were cheating on you with, or maybe someone new, they resurface. All they got to do is re-download the app, log in, and all the messages are right back to where they were. So in the 3 ways that I'm going to teach you later on how to catch a cheater, we'll actually cover that in the end. We'll actually discuss how to reveal secret accounts cheaters use in number 2. So I'm going to teach you guys how to figure out how to get these, figure out if they have these secret accounts. I'm going to teach you guys before the show is over with. Another one that they do, Dwayne, is they never use their phone when they're around you.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, some may take this as a form of flattery, but be careful with that, okay? The idea that your partner only wants to pay attention. See, the reason why they think it's flattery is because they say, well, my partner just wants to pay attention to me. So they don't use their phone around me because they give me other undivided attention. And look, that sounds good. I'll be honest. It sounds good. But here's the caveat. If you notice that they never use their phone around you, but seem to always be on it when you walk in on them, right? That's a red flag.
Or they leave the room when they get a call or a text or something. For some reason, they have to get up and leave.
So you come in the room, they're on their phone, they get off their phone rings, they don't answer it, notifications perhaps, they don't respond to them, they don't check their phone ever.
Yeah, it's blowing up and
it's always going off, right? They don't respond. It could be flattery or it could be something a little more serious, but they're always on their phone whenever you walk into the room. Like every time you walk in, they're always on their phone. And, oh, hey, yeah, I got to get going. Okay. Oh, hey, sweetheart, how are you? I can see why that some people will think that's a form of flattery. I can see that.
Right.
All I'm saying that is that, you know, that could be a red flag, right? These are
Spidey sense.
Yeah. So, you know, whenever you had asked Dwayne is it possible for a person to be able to lie and get away with it? And then you also asked, what would you ask? Lie, and then what was the other one again?
Well, lie to your face.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what was the other one? Because you did break it into 2 different things.
Yeah. I forgot what you said, but we're getting old, so we can't remember.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm sorry, I remember now. It was the person said, "Well, I would know if they are." That was the other one, right? Yep. So I do believe that a lot of people would know. I do believe that anybody with a good connection with aura, a good intuition
with your spouse.
Yeah, you know, look, when you're with someone a long time, you understand their patterns, their behaviors, the way they talk, even down to the English words that they use. They could use a brand new word, you'd be like,
exactly, yeah.
So if they start to kind of drift off from the path of what they normally follow, that'll be a red flag for you. So yeah, I do think that people could pick up on that, and that's when they start. I mean, honestly, guys and gals, the list that I'm giving you right now are ways that you kind of determine that, you know, hell, this might be something going on here. Like this, these are the things that you notice, right? Another one is that they will tilt their phone screen out of your sight. You know, Yeah. So that way you can't see their phone screen. And I've also noticed that some people, if there's a film that you can put over your phone,
Yeah. Yep.
that you can
privacy.
only see when you're right on. I couldn't see from the side.
Yep.
I got my dog on there. Oh, man. love her. That's Haley. So yeah, look, while privacy is important, if this is something that your partner does only occasionally, it could be a red flag, because if they're doing it all the time, okay, but if they're every once in a while they do it, that's when it's a little bit of a red flag. Right. Because that every once in a while is probably the every once in a while that the person that they shouldn't be talking to chimes in and they're talking to them. So you want to kind of watch out for that. Look, at the end of the day, if privacy is really important to them, they turn their phone away all the time, not just sometimes.
Right.
So, if privacy is absolutely detrimental, they would likely always turn their phone around. But if they only do it every once in a while, that could be a red flag. Keep that in mind.
All right.
Let's see what we got in the comments section here.
I got to talk about one of my old school ways that I busted.
Colin, you haven't missed much. We're just gabbing. We're not really talking about much. But you guys are kind of quiet today. What's up with the comment section?
They're just drinking in all the information.
Is that what it is?
I think they're just drinking.
You guys are just soaking it in. Look, I want to see some interaction here, folks. Put it in the chat.
I want to hear some stories.
Yeah, let's give us some good stuff. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, just go ahead and type it in. Your comment will pop up here, and if it's appropriate and PG enough, we'll pop it here on the screen for everyone to see. Some of you guys are just nasty.
Well, can I tell my story about how I busted my wife? I went old school on her. It had nothing to do with phones and all that. I mean, again, I'm a tech guy.
This is your first wife?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Be very specific. My first wife, not my last wife.
Yeah.
First wife. So I had been getting and we had other issues. There was other things that were giving me the heebie-jeebies anyway. But I used the keylogger and got information. Found out that she was talking to her sister about trying to cheat on me with a guy at one of my youngest son's school. And I was like, okay. And that was like in one of the emails I can't remember the email or texting, and this was a while back. And then the next one was that she got a picture of him at the event. And I wasn't able to get there, I guess, in time for that part of it. I got there a little bit later. And I was like, all right. So I went to the camera, and she had deleted off the SD card all the pictures. Well, I'm a tech geek. I know how to use software that recreates deleted pictures off of SD cards. So what I did, because I'm a jerk and I love busting people being bad, is I went ahead and recreated the picture. And after I got done laughing at who the one that was going to replace me was, I got the picture. And this is actually, I think, still when we were in the same, still in the same bed or whatever. That actually changed, I think, shortly thereafter. So I had it pulled up on my laptop, and she was accusing me of some BS, and that's another warning sign if they're accusing you of cheating or accusing you of wrongdoing. And here's how, I have a little experience there, but I'm laying there and she's sitting there accusing me of crap. Now, I work 10, 11, 12 hours a day doing all, I'm a solid guy. And I'm laying there and I go, okay. Yeah. I got a question for you. And I turned my laptop and went, who's this? And she flipped the hell out. She was like, how did you get that? And I wanted really to say, I'm a tech nerd. Of course I got it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's hard not to be arrogant whenever you, yeah.
That's one of my,
because you're mad and, I get it.
Yeah. Whenever I'm in stress situations, I use humor, sarcasm. I mean, those are my talents, as it were. And that's what I always employed. And it, obviously made her feel stupid, which was a win in my book. And anyway, she got super mad, but I guess the one big thing here that I had learned through all of that with my first marriage is that setting boundaries up. I have it to where, if there's even a hint of cheating, or I'm like, you're gone. I don't care if we've been together for 50 years, whatever. You cheat on me or create the illusion of cheating, you're gone. There's just not, and that's just a boundary. That's just a hard boundary. And I live in the world I've created because I'm the same way. If I ever have to have a lunch meeting, I do implore if I have a lunch meeting with a female, there are other males there with me. If I have a text with anybody, any female on text, my wife is on the text. I do go, and some people are like, oh my God, you're too, whatever. I go out of my way to remove any possibility that no one could possibly construe that I'm doing something weird.
Right.
And that's just and that's how it's always been. But anyway, that was my little funny story. This was like back in like 2006 or 7 or something. So it was a while back. But yeah, when I felt pretty proud of myself and I was able to recreate that picture and be like, so what about that?
Man, I tell you, dude. I mean, your first wife, she was something, man. And more I learn about her, gosh.
Oh,
what a hell you went through. What hell?
It was years of torture. I should have left a long time ago.
Man, yeah. I remember looking at pictures of Dwayne's house, and Dwayne was the sole provider. He was the only one working. She's very capable of being able to work. It wasn't because the kids were infants and they were babies. She chose not to work. And this woman would not do laundry. She wouldn't do the dishes. She wouldn't even keep the house up. And then she's asking Dwayne for a maid to come over. And he video recorded walking through his house. I thought it was a squatter's house or like one of those episodes of like, what was that? You know what I'm talking about? Oh,
Hoarders, yes.
Hoarders. Yes. There was shit everywhere, man.
Everywhere. And I would clean the house on Saturday myself after working all week and taking care of the kids. And she would actually come behind me and tear things up. It was she hated my guts. I mean, well, she still does, but she hated me. There was just no getting around that. I don't know why. I'm such a lovable guy.
So since we have the tech expert and Dwayne on here, maybe you can answer this question for Ronald. Ronald says, can you send an email to someone else's phone to make it appear that they are cheating? Like for instance, if a woman wanted to get her husband in trouble or wanted to get rid of him, can she send a text message to like plant evidence that Ronald never did? Is that possible?
Without the exception of doing metadata, if you don't look at the metadata, there is a way to spoof that. I mean, one, obviously, if they were able to break into your PC or send it from your phone or whatever, they obviously do that. But I assume he's talking about
remotely.
She doesn't have access to it. It's impossible. There are ways to spoof an account and do that. However, when they do the forensics on it, they can uncover that through the metadata. And there's a few other different ways of doing that. But yeah, it's hard. If it's a first glance, like if they spoofed it and sent it to you and you pulled it up and you're like, oh my God, this happened, because most people don't go, well, let me look at the metadata under, behind the whole thing and see what's going on to do that forensic analysis. But I would say I don't want to say uneducated. That makes it sound like, mean, but to the people that don't deal with it every day or aren't trained to forensically analyze email traffic and stuff like that, or from a forensics perspective, yes. But
he's talking specifically about metadata, and for those who don't know what metadata is, could you share that? Do you know what that is?
Oh boy, I'm trying to figure out a good way to kind of break it down. So the metadata is
talk to us like we're a 10-year-old, okay?
It can provide coordinate information. So like when you send a picture, this is one of the things that is a little dangerous about like Facebook and stuff like that. When you send a picture, there's metadata that's behind it that gives the geographics of it. So like when I don't know if you have I think you have a Android, but iPhone or Android doesn't matter. Where like when you pull your pictures up and you can put a map up there on your phone and it will show where you took those pictures.
Yeah,
that metadata is what's feeding all of that. That's how it's capturing that information and keeps it within the picture.
Okay.
And it's difficult, not impossible, but it's difficult to get rid of it. Or, well, it depends who you talk to.
So is it possible for someone to remotely add text with metadata? Is that possible?
If it's one of those, you could take it almost as far as you can, but again, forensics are going to find that.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing it if you're the person doing it, because once it's found out, it's pretty bad. Because actually, they've had court cases where that's happened. They've tried to spoof someone's account and send fake emails or text, and they were able, through the forensic process, to determine that it was the ex-spouse or whoever did it, and then that person gets arrested. It's pretty bad for them. I mean,
so if I'm understanding correctly, the answer is yes, it is possible. But if you feel that you're a victim of that, like if you know you did not write that message, you did not do whatever, and you go to court, then what you need to do is you need to hire someone who knows how to uncover those things, because that is a home run waiting to happen. Because if you can prove that it was done by this, person that's trying to, basically plant evidence to make you appear to be someone that you're not, it's gonna be a bad day for that other person who did it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he says, so when you, let me just pull it up here. So when you send an email, the location of the sender will be attached?
Well, that's with pictures. There's, oh boy, I have to get all these acronyms and all that.
I'm starting to think Ronald has a story here.
Yeah, Ron, I don't know if you want to do story time here, but there is metadata behind the email, and it gives what server, what IP address, and IP address is your home address. 192.168.1.1 is your home IP address, and then you have all the classification. Again, this is where it spirals, but trying to keep it pretty basic. There is metadata in there that is the kind of the footprint of who and how that email was generated, what account it was generated from, how it was done, time of day. There's all kinds of metadata in there. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head all of the XML that's in there. But I would say, I would Google email metadata and then see what is on there. I'm trying to remember the list of all the stuff that's in there and different. This is where it just spirals, because then you have your whole email, each account, Outlook versus Hotmail versus AOL, or all the different ones out there, how they do that. But there's a way to do it, and there's a way to uncover it. There's that's it. But not actual location. I'm going off memory. I obviously haven't had a chance to, or haven't messed with that in quite a while.
And
I would check the metadata.
You're doing great, Dwayne. I'm sorry to catch you just off guard here, because without any sort of research. I mean, that's not what you do for a living, but but you're answering these questions way better than I could. So I don't know, Ron. I mean, it sounds like either someone's doing something bad to you, or you're trying to figure out if you should do something bad to them. Hopefully, it's the former, not the latter. But it's possible, but it can be traced. It sounds like.
Yeah, I just did a quick Google search just to give an example here. Let me share my screen here. There we go. So just to really take it off the rails, this is an example of metadata. I have to sit there and look through it, but it gives location information and stuff like that. So you would want to look through that. And actually, this, if you go make use of, or just Google email header metadata, it's going to give you all kinds of information on that. It gives you the IP address of where it came from. So if Jimmy was able to spoof my account and send an email, it would, unless he uses a VPN and does some other fun stuff. Again, it's that rabbit hole that it goes down to. Your everyday person that doesn't do this stuff every day, if it's just like a scorned ex that wants to do whatever and sends an email, they're probably not going to know how to do a number of things to this level. Someone like me, who's a mastermind of craziness, I use my powers for evil, not good.
The only thing I would plant on your computer would be like clown porn or midget porn, but
it's already there.
I mean, you probably already have it bookmarked. So I mean,
it's my favorites.
I would just be practicing. So moving on, I got a couple more tips for you guys to make sure that you can kind of figure out if people are being sneaky behind your back. Another one, number 9, is that they save their secret lover as a different contact.
Yes.
That is one that happens a lot. So, the classic usage for this is to save their name as someone that you would not think twice about. Usually one of their close friends, or even a name of a restaurant, or, yeah, don't use my name, okay? Leave me out of your stuff, man. Leave me. I got enough bad juju I'm fighting on a daily basis. But yeah, so when you're going through their phone or their contacts or their text messages, and you're looking through her stuff, for instance, I'm just throwing this out as a suggestion, and she is texting Diane, and then she's texting Robert, you're more likely to look for Robert than you would Diane, right? It doesn't raise a red flag. So they know that, and they're crafty, man. They're crafty. So watch out for that. And then the last tip that I would give you guys is that they use apps like WhatsApp or Signal to conversate with the person that they're cheating with, okay?
Yeah.
These apps are either untraceable, or they give them a fake number to text and call the person that they're cheating on you with. Like, it actually will generate a new phone number. The person that they're talking with has no idea that this isn't their real number, and it can't be traced back to them using like a number finder search engine type of thing, right? And think about this too. If they end things with that, secret person they're cheating with, or it goes south in a really bad way, all they got to do is delete that app, and if the other person tries to call them or text them or whatever, it won't go through, and it can't be traced back to them.
Yeah.
So, watch out for people who have that Signal app. There's usually something shisty going on there. So I've got a few ways on how you can catch a cheater. You want to hear those?
Oh yeah.
So
now you're in Texas. We have a show in the DFW area called Cheaters. I don't know if you've ever watched that.
I have, yeah.
I love that show.
That you and Brandy watch that stuff.
We are hoes when it comes to Cheaters, 90 Day Fiance, all the smut TV, Love After Lockup. That is our jam. I mean, I've always had this. You do the right thing. You be the stand-up person. And conversely, I hate people that are shysters, that lie and cheat and spend all the time and waste people's time and their feelings and hurt them and all that stuff. I hate it, but I love cheaters. I love watching cheaters because I love seeing people that are just scummy pieces of trash get busted. I love it.
Do you think that show's real? Like, are those people real, or is it all staged?
No, it's real.
Is it really?
I mean, I would say it's as far as the reports and things that come out. I'm sure there's going to be I think there was like one. There was one episode that actually the cheaters group uncovered that it was fake. It was them that did it. It wasn't like the news came out and found out it was a bunch of crap. It was the other way around, from what I remember. But everything appears on the up and up for that. The
only episode I've ever watched on Cheaters, and once I watched it, I went, "Oh my god, okay, I'm done with this." It was this girl who had a boyfriend, and she thought her boyfriend was cheating on her, and the guy was like, "Okay, so we know where he's at right now. He's doing a radio show or something like that. So we're gonna just kind of bust in and then catch him in the act or whatever, right?" So they get into this van, and then they're zooming down the street, and they show up to this radio station, and sorry, I shouldn't laugh. They all walk in, this entourage of this cameraman and this guy who's catching the cheating, and of course the girl who's being cheated on, walk in, and the radio station is they're doing this live, and her boyfriend is dressed up in one of those big bear, like a bear or a rabbit or something. Like, he has a full costume on, and they're having rabbit sex live on the radio. There's some sort of name for it. I don't know what it is. What's the name? Furries. I think that's it. Furries. Where they dress up like animals and they just get it on. And so he was like a rabbit or something, or a mouse. I don't know. I don't remember what the hell kind of freaky stuff people are into. There's some weird ass people out there, man. There's some weird. Look, if you've got a fetish, I'm not here to judge, but if you got a fetish where you got to dress up like a freaking college football day mascot to get off, there's something wrong with you.
There's
you need Jesus, man. I mean, there's something freaking wrong with you. I was like, all right, that's enough for me on cheaters. I just had to turn a damn channel, but I can see why you would like that. I mean, it's drama, you know.
It's therapeutic for me because again, I love seeing cheaters and bad people get busted since it doesn't happen through our judicial system and anywhere else. It seems like at least I get to see people living in the world they create. The ones that are doing all this slimy crap, they get busted. The world knows what piece of garbage they are. I mean, there's so many episodes, but there's one where this guy was taking care of this woman for years or whatever, and he came into a hotel room. She was had a ball gag on, was tied up. They had plastic sheets on the bed. It was just over the top, and it's just like, wow, this is. But and the thing is, what they do, what they almost always do, and they beg for forgiveness. They didn't know what happened. They were confused. But you'll also get the true narcissist that will be like, oh, you drove me to do this. This is your fault.
Yeah.
I know I did this little thing here, having sex with somebody else, but you work too much. Stuff like that. And, you see, and again, guys and girls, for me, it's just been very therapeutic. I've been dealing with all this nonsense for well over a decade. And for me, and other people can try it, it's just been therapy for me because I can identify with the lies and what happens, and then they get busted in the end.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of therapy for me.
You ever think about making a side business, buddy?
Oh, I tried to. We for the 2503, the custodial interference, I had put a thing off on the Pissed Off Parent show where I was going to go and monitor people that weren't able to get access to their children, and then interview and push to where they would be able to get access to their kids when the other parent wouldn't let them. No one took me up on the offer, but I had thought about doing things like that. I obviously don't have the budget. And of course the lawsuits that come in, unfortunately, from that. And there's just the overall craziness. I mean, there's a lot of crazy people in this world, but and maybe in my younger days, I would have done something like that. It's always been a therapy for me to watch that kind of stuff. I mean, if you want to see the sickness that's out there today, and again, it's therapy, watch the 90 Day Fiance stuff.
Really?
Oh yeah. Brandy and I sit there and watch that, and we're both yelling at the TV. I mean, we're pretty bad with it because we're yelling at the TV. And what's awesome about having a red-pilled wife is she's right there along with me, going, I can't believe they're pulling this crap. And that's when you know you got a winner. You got an open phone app, and she is red-pilled as can. She's almost more red-pilled than I am at times.
You know what? I'm gonna make a public service announcement right there. All my friends on Facebook and YouTube right now. I'm going to call out Dwayne right now. I'm letting the cat out of the bag. I've caught Dwayne cheating 1 million times on Brandy on his diet.
Oh, you got me
on his diet.
Okay, she helps me.
Oh, she's accomplice to it.
She is. Oh, we talk about that all the time. Yeah.
What's your excuse now, huh? Did I push you to cheating on your diet, Dwayne? Is it my fault? Huh? Why are you doing this to me? I map out a diet for you. I'll give you a workout plan. I tell you what supplements to go on. And how do you repay me, Dwayne? How do you repay me? By cheating on me behind my back.
I cheated on you.
I can smell the pizza on your breath.
I had Emo's pizza last week. 3 of them. It was a one-time thing. I hadn't had that pizza in like 7 years.
You're just a carb slut.
I am. Yeah, I am horrible. And I have a sickness. When they talk about people having an eating problem, I have an eating problem. Something happens in my brain, and I can't help myself.
Do you remember the time we were doing a podcast a few months ago, and you actually admitted to buying a dozen donuts before the podcast, and you destroyed 11 out of 12 of them?
Yeah.
And the only reason why you didn't polish off the last one is because Brandy walked in on you and she's like, "Where's all the donuts?" Something like that happened.
She guilt tripped me. Yeah. She's just a very, very bad influence on me. Someone spoofed her account. Yeah, that's not her. No, that is not her at all. No. This is what I'm talking about. When people spoof accounts, she got a VPN and spoofed the real Brand. No, yeah, this is not. That's not true.
Yeah, that's not the real Brandy Ward.
Yeah, she's a great woman, but yeah, no, she will. Yeah, she is. She'll help me along in my journey. and actually give props to her. She has been like dieting and exercising for the past several months, and really, doing well with that, getting a lot healthier and all that. And of course, she looks at me like, "When are you going to do this?"
But, folks, I was talking to Dwayne one time, and he says, I tell you what, Jim, I'm actually into fitness. I said, "Oh, cool, you're into fitness?" He goes, "Yeah, fitness, whole pizza in my mouth."
I've done it. I've seen me eat an entire pizza. I've done it with a smile on my face. I am getting better though. I only had like a plate of Chinese buffet food Friday, and I paid for that like for the entire weekend. But yeah, I need to get better. I mean, if you're at 51, I would not eat like a 12-year-old boy. But something about it, something about food, I just can't help myself.
I know. It's the desire pulls on us all. But all right, let's get down to the nitty gritty here. I'm going to give you guys 3 ways to find out if your spouse is cheating on you. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I've got more than 3 ways to find out, but I can't disclose it all. Some of them are not ethical. But hey, look, when you have a friend like this guy right here, some crafty ways to find out what people are doing. But I'm going to give you the more ethical ways to find out. But before I start, first off, let me say, I just want to say that what you're going through, if you feel that your partner's cheating on you, is not your fault. Okay. Right. It's not your fault. There is no excuse for cheating, and you deserve to know the truth.
Right.
But if they are cheating, you're not going to hear it from them that they're cheating on you.
Right.
Okay. Which is why I'm going to give you a few ways to find out if they truly are cheating. Number 1, hire a private investigator. Although this might be the most obvious answer, okay, it's also the most expensive one, which is why a lot of people don't do it. If you have the cash available, though, this is your best option. Private investigators are really good at gathering information without ever getting caught. And even if they do get caught, they will not suspect that you hired them.
Right.
Okay. Just to let you know how pricey they are in case that's something that you want to do. Their fees range between $40 and $200 per hour. So they should be somewhere in that range. Okay.
I was like 40 for the whole thing. Wow.
No, for an hour. So I'm gonna be honest. I mean, if they're out there following your person around, they log up 10 hours or whatever, and that's $400 at the minimum, all the way up to $800. I mean, or $2,000. So it could be pricey, fair enough, but that is the best option. Number 2, though, okay, you can actually find their hidden social media accounts, recent locations, or their dating accounts. That's right. Cheaters usually will have more than one social media or dating account that you are completely unaware of. According to a study done by Digital Trends, 67% of all cheaters who used another social media account to cheat with did it through Facebook.
Right.
Just letting you know. They're creating another Facebook account, and that's their go-to for it. It's the easiest one. Everyone knows Facebook. It's easy peasy, and that's how they get around on you. Now, most cheating ends up online nowadays. Okay, and that's usually due to ease of access. So that's not going to surprise any of you guys. There are even websites dedicated to helping spouses cheat on their partner.
Ashley Madison.
Ashley Madison is one.
Or Ashley.
Yeah,
Ashley Madison. How much I know about it. Yeah. Ashley Madison.
Right. And they're in big demand, this Ashley Madison. Now, they got plenty of people on there, right? So how do you find out if your spouse's potentially secret social media or dating accounts exist? Okay, here's how you do it. You can use an online tool like Instant Checkmate. They are a public database company that crawls the internet for data associated with individuals across the world. And as you guessed it, they can even find out if your spouse has a social media account, a dating account, or any of the others that you are not aware of. You visited were. All you got to do is type in their name and give like the general area From there, Instant Checkmate will begin to like narrow down individuals by asking you to confirm some of your spouse's info, things like, things that you're likely to know the answers to, such as like who they're related to, things like that. Because if there's a bunch of people with the same names as your spouse, right? So look, I'll admit it's a little scary when you see just how much info that they can actually gather on someone. It's kind of freaking scary, but it's definitely useful in helping you find online accounts that your spouse might be using or where they've recently been. You just have to check, a couple times a month and do it for a few months to really get the best results. And don't worry, I've already checked, and yes, it's legal to do.
Yeah.
Private investigators actually use these kinds of tools all the time, but lucky for you, you don't have to have a license to use it. So if it's something you're interested in, give it a shot. You really don't have much to lose, honestly, and it can finally give you some freaking peace of mind if you wanted it to. Don't try, guys and gals, and especially guys, man. I mean, you guys. Some of you guys, man, look, don't try and find the free search websites. You get what you pay for. Stop being cheap, man. Yeah. Okay. Anything that's good ain't free. And if it's free, it ain't good. So stop being cheap and just pay for people's time. You guys make enough money. And if it's worth it, it's worth it. It's worth the peace of mind. Think if you're a man trying to figure out if your girl is cheating on you, how much money do you spend on that woman per month? It's hundreds of dollars. Spend a freaking $1.50 or something and find out she's doing you dirty.
Right.
Instant Checkmate, the site that I was telling you about, they'll charge like a reoccurring membership, and the fees are like $22.86, $44.58 a month, or $59.16 a month, depending on the membership options that you choose. That's nothing. Okay, chump change. Dwayne pays more on shipping charges for the Transformers he buys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's worth the money. I mean, yeah, you're spending hundreds of dollars, or you're going to get married to this person, and you're going to, tie up all of your assets together. Yeah, do this. $20 is a cheap price to pay to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Very cheap.
Pretty much any social media now, Jimmy. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, well, the whole searching, I mean, a lot of these, I recommend people like go out and Google this information. I'm a huge fan of ChatGPT for a number of things, one of which is this, because you can go into ChatGPT and just ask the question, and it will provide links and data back to you that you can then use to, continue doing your searches. But if your spidey sense is going off, you should be doing this to at least get peace of mind. I mean, you don't want to go overboard, but at the same time, if your spidey sense is going off, your intuition, you have that intuition for a reason.
You do.
You need to, and it's just going to fester, get worse. And hopefully, you find out it's absolutely nothing. And then you can just be like, okay, good. My spidey sense was wrong. And you go on about your day, and because it's going to fester. I mean, you think something's a little weird, and then you don't do anything about it. It's just going to fester and get, more and more, and then something else is going to happen.
Some people in the chats are asking, what was it called again? It is called Instant Checkmate. Instant Checkmate. So I've given you guys the best way of finding out if they're cheating, which is also the most expensive. Go figure, right? Mm-hmm. Private investigator. Then I give you one that's a little less, likely to find out, but it's still a good one, and it costs $20 to $50 or $20 to $60 a month. And now I'm going to give you one that's free. So I'll give you high, medium, and free. The last tip that you can find out how to catch them cheating, and this is one that a lot of us or people that we've heard stories of actually unfortunately found out that they've been cheating on, and that is to drop by unannounced.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we've all heard the stories. So every now and then, just drop by unannounced to their workplace, or come back home early, but do it genuinely. Make it a surprise, like figure out a reason why you need to do that. Don't just come busting through the freaking door. What the fuck you doing, woman? Come on, make it genuine, make it a reason, because if your partner is cheating on you, the first thing they do instead of welcoming you with a smile is hide something or appear surprised or even angry that you arrived, without like they know your pattern. They know when you're at work. They know your schedule. They know you work every day from 10 to 6, from freaking 8 to 5 or whatever. And you always get home at exactly 5:36 from traffic. They know your schedule. So if they're doing something they shouldn't be doing and it's 2:00 in the afternoon, they've got 3 hours before they got to be cleaned up, if you lack of better words, no pun intended.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you kind of drop home, you know, unannounced at a different time and they are happy to see you, awesome, right? If you come by and they're angry to see you or surprised or they're scurrying around and getting things kind of straightened out, that's a huge red flag. And of course, you know, if unfortunately you go home and you, I don't know, see them in with someone else, that's just one of the most awful things anyone could go through. And unfortunately, some of you listening have already gone through that. And I'm very sorry that you went through it. So, you know, another thing that this does is it helps you catch them if they're lying about their whereabouts. So, you know, if they said that they were somewhere and you go home and they're home, but they weren't there, or vice versa, whatever, you can kind of figure out what's going on with them. So those are 3 ways, guys, that you can catch your person cheating. One's expensive, one's not so pricey, one's free. Look, in closing, here's my recommendation. Okay. My recommendation is to hire a private investigator. Yes, I know it's pretty expensive. For this reason, though, you know, my suggestion is if you don't have the money to spend or drop $1,000 or a couple $1,000 on a private investigator, then check out that Instant Checkmate first, or some sort of site that's similar to it. You know, if you see that they have shady accounts online, that's a big red flag. And since you may even see what locations they've recently visited, and if they've been somewhere they lied about, that's another red flag. It's not going to give you photos and videos the way that a private investigator would. You're still going to have to dig a little deeper, but at least you know that they're lying about you. Okay. If you want to get even more evidence, then you should hire that private investigator. Since you used Instant Checkmate first, you'll know if they've been up to something, you know, shady up front, and that way you don't go wasting your money, right? So you could do the Instant Checkmate. You could say, why does my chick or why does my guy have 2 Facebook accounts, and why is he visiting this neighborhood? We don't know anyone who lives in the neighborhood. I know his car was there. Then you could now justify spending a couple grand on a private investigator. So that's my thoughts, folks. What do you think, Dwayne? I mean, that's all I got for today. I mean, I think that's some pretty damn solid advice, if you ask me.
Oh, very solid. I mean, some of it's just, again, spidey sense. I'm a huge fan of that. Another one, actually, something to just at least say it out loud is like when you're on their social medias, hopefully you're friends with them on social media. If you see some dude or some chick that is liking, commenting on their social media, like a weird amount, spidey sense should be going off then. Like, you should be kind of like, what's going on there? I mean, if you have the right boundaries set up, you know, they should know that, you know, certain behaviors aren't appropriate. They shouldn't have certain friends. I mean, if they're in a committed relationship and you're on Farcebook and they're this guy or girl is continually, you know, hearting and just activity that's just raises the flags up. It makes you go, what is going on here? Trust your spidey sense. And you know, get some evidence and have boundaries. You need to have set boundaries. You know, I mean, mine are very strict just because of what I went through and just kind of the person that I am. I expect people to live in the world that they've created. I have a zero tolerance policy on those type of things, and so I do this. I would do the same thing I would expect my wife to do, you know, or not do. And I would say if you're in a relationship, have those set up. And if the person breaks them, hit the door. I mean, you know, it's the Ray Charles song, "Hit the Road, Jack. Don't you call it back no more. Don't you come back no more."
Was that Ray Charles?
Was that? Yeah, it was. Yeah. No, come back no more. Yeah, it was Ray Charles. Yeah. I'm so old, I keep forgetting who's what.
Guys, here's my thoughts. Okay, I've spoken to countless women and countless men, couples, and when we get into the infidelity part, or when we get to talking before infidelity, in my own anecdotal experience, I don't have stats to support what I'm about to say. This is what I've seen from doing this hundreds and hundreds of times. there's a reoccurring theme, folks, on why people cheat. I am not justifying it. What I'm saying, though, is that if you don't feel that your partner's cheating, you still have a fiduciary responsibility to your relationship to do the things that is required or that's needed from the partner to make sure that they never get to the point to where they're thinking about something. And where I'm going with this is this. In nearly all cases, the person who cheated on the other person felt that they were in a deficit of something. Yeah. And they felt that they needed to scratch that itch from someone else. Not on all cases, not all, okay? But in most cases where women cheat, it's because she wasn't given enough attention. Women love attention. Mm-hmm. Not in all, but in most cases where men have cheated, it's because he wasn't given enough sex. Okay? It doesn't justify it. Fair enough, but get out in front of it. The reason why women are not the kind of women we want them to be in today's world, the reason why men are not the kind of men that we want them to be in our today's world is because if men want sex and women want attention, that's why social media has ruined women for you, because they get all the attention they need. That's why pornography has ruined men for you, because they get all the visual and physical pleasantries that they need. Porn ruins men. Social media ruins women, because women want attention and men want sex. Do I have to spell this out any better than that? So before it gets too far, if you're a man, talk to her every once in a while, a couple times a year. It doesn't have to be every month. And just sit down and say, look, I promised you that I would do whatever it took to make sure our families has a roof over our head and food in our bellies and our kids are taken care of. I would give my life up to save yours and our kids. In order to do that in this hyper competitive world that we live in, where everyone's shooting to make as much money as they can, it means I have to go to work. And so you can have one of two things. You can have my time, but I can't provide for you, or I can provide for you and I don't give you my time. But you can't have both. Right. That's the unfortunate situation that men are in. If we give you our time, we can't give you our provision. If we give you our provision, we can't give you our time. It's a catch-22 for men. But you can at least downplay or get out in front of it, guys, by having a conversation with her and saying that I want you to know that the 10 and 11 and 12-hour days that I put in, 4 and 5 and 6 days a week, are for you, babe. It's for our kids. But I also understand that you have your needs as well. Do you feel that I'm giving you enough time? Do you feel that it's right for us to maybe should I take a long weekend and we get out of town for the weekend? You know, I want to make sure I'm giving you everything you need because I love you. And you, although you understand I've got to go to work, you still have needs that are met and you still need the attention from your man that you crave. Have that conversation with her.
Yeah.
Ladies, the same thing goes for you. There's a solid argument for men to make when they complain. They do it in jest. Like we always go, ha ha, you know, all the BJs stopped when I got married. Ha ha. Look, that's all fun and good, but it ain't that fun when you put into application. A sexless marriage is the number one complaint that men have. And don't give men any more reason to not get married in today's world. We already get bent over by the courts whenever we get a divorce, and 80 up to 90% of all divorces that are filed from the female. It's a bad deal in a lot of ways for guys to even get married, especially if they're a top earner. Don't take or don't use sex as a negotiation tool to get him to comply for him to do something that you want. And a lot of women do that. They feel that they should be able to have sex with their husband whenever they feel like it. And I understand that, but that's not quite fair, is it? Because as a man, do I get to, if I don't feel like going to work, do I get to not just go to work?
Yeah.
If I don't feel like dying and giving up my life, does that mean that I just don't have to see what's kicking at the front door in the middle of the night? Like men still have to do all these things that we don't want to do. And we do it for you. We don't get to have a day off. I don't get to just decide that I don't want to freaking work anymore. I don't want to protect you anymore. I don't want to provide for you more because it's freaking hard. We never get to stop. So all I'm saying is be careful if you use your body or your intimacy with your marriage. I'm referring to married people. Be careful if you use that as a negotiation tool or leverage.
Well, you make it transactional.
You make it transactional. You don't want to do that. The amount of men that are in sexless marriages is baffling. The amount of time, like if you were to ask women, 1,000 women, you had 1,000 women in the audience, and you said to them, if you didn't give your man sex for 1 month, what percentage of men would cheat on you? And they all in fun and jest, they all raise their hand, like 900 of them out of 1,000, but like, oh, my man will cheat on me. And it'd be funny, but then you go, no, seriously. And all joking aside, what percentage of men you think would cheat on you? I bet they would say half of the men would cheat on their wives if they didn't get sex after a month. Well, what about 6 months? Well, they might say 80% of all men would do it. Well, what about a year of no sex? Well, 100% of men would definitely cheat if they didn't give them sex for 1 year. That's what they would say. There are men out there who have not had intimacy with their wives for way more than a year. Okay. And they're still required to not step out of their marriage. Look, I'm not saying it's justified if they do. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying, men, what I'm saying, women, is you have to understand the needs of the person that you chose as your partner. And I can make a solid argument that their needs are more important to you than maybe you make them out to be. Because in my personal feelings, if I was married and had kids, my wife comes over my kids. She comes first over the kids. Right. And the argument that I would make is if there is no relationship, if the marriage falls apart, it hurts my children. They are passengers in the vehicle that you and I are driving, babe.
Right.
So we have to make sure we are good before we can make sure they are good. I've got to put my mask on to get air when the plane goes down before I help the people around me put their mask on, because if I pass out, everyone else dies, right? Mm-hmm. Just think about that, guys. So in closing, I want you to know that if you feel that your partner is stepping out on you, okay, these are ways that you can kind of identify, and then I give you at the end 3 ways that you can actually catch them. But if you are looking at this going, wow, that I feel bad for these people out there, all I'm saying is that get out in front of the problem by making sure that you understand your partner's love language. Mm-hmm. Understand that the way that you communicate to them means less than their ability to understand what you're saying to them. You could be a great communicator and you could understand what you're saying, but if they don't understand what you're saying, it doesn't matter. You've got to be able to communicate with them in a way to where you guys can be on solid ground and not at odds. And if your best way of thinking, if your best communication efforts just can't get you to understanding each other, fine. You're not a bad person because you're not Jordan Peterson with the tongue being able to talk in front of tens of thousands of people. It's fine. Then go and get a mediator. Go to when's the last time you guys been to church? When's the last time you put God above your relationship? They literally have free counseling, marriage counseling sessions at the church. And if you don't want to go to church, well, then reach into your pocket, dig a little deep, and go and pay someone to do it. Your marriage is worth it, folks. Okay? Try to make sure that you're not putting your spouse in a situation to where they would want to step out. And people who are on the cusp of getting ready to cheat, before you do, please make sure that you have a conversation with your ex. I'm sorry, not your ex, but your spouse, to make sure your soon-to-be ex. Have the conversation with him or her before you step out to get the things that you need and try to communicate in a clear way.
That's like a future episode. Ways to communicate so that your partner understands. Have from both the male and female perspective. When men communicate their needs, here are our needs. This is how we communicate them. This is how we maybe not communicate them correctly.
Yeah.
and offer some ideas on how to communicate. Because again, it doesn't matter. I can I'm a computer nerd. I can sit here and tell you acronyms all day long. I spit a few out earlier, and people were like, "What? What are you talking?" They have no idea. I had to explain it in words that they could understand and apply to their world. Yeah, it sounds like maybe a future episode.
Hey, well, hopefully, Big Show podcast will be running for quite some time.
Oh yeah.
If you guys ever need anything, have ideas for the show, things like that, drop me a line. You can go to the Dad. I'm sorry, not the Dad Talk Today page, but the Big Show podcast, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and leave me a private message, or my personal email address is jimmysmith300@gmail.com. I'll do the best I can to get to everybody. Sometimes it's a lot, but I will do the best I possibly can. At the very least, I'll read them and I'll take into consideration and run it by Dwayne and Eric on whether or not we want to do a full-blown show off of your suggestion. But guys, gals, do me a favor. Make sure that before you'll log off, you click the like button, and also turn on notifications for Dad Talk Today. That way, when Dwayne and Eric or myself go live with the show, you'll be notified that we're going live. Your support means everything to us. We don't make any money doing this. We do a lot of research, and we really try to give back to you guys out there. We're doing a lot of work, and we don't ask anything in return other than you simply push the like button or share this video with people who really need to see it, because that way it reaches more and more people. And eventually down the road, we'll be able to fund some of these trips and fund being able to bring people into our studios to have interviews with them once it is monetized a little bit. But guys, I want to thank you for tuning in for another time of the Big Show podcast. Alongside of me is my good friend, Dwayne Ward. My name is Jimmy Smith. We'll see you guys here every single Sunday evening, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Big Show podcast. Until next week, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.